So without further ado, this is Rudy Giuliani and Fox News host Maria Bartiromo talking off air on November 8th, 2020. Off air, Mr. Giuliani seems pretty candid about the fact that he really has no evidence that there is anything wrong with the Dominion voting machines.
I'm going to be asking you for as much evidence as you can tell us about these lawsuits. Whatever you can tell us in terms of evidence would be really helpful. Okay, great.
I can tell you exactly what we have.
Perfect. And what about this software, this Dominion software?
That's a little harder.
Very troubling. This Dominion software, does Nancy Pelosi have an interest in it?
I've read that. I can't prove that yet.
Okay.
Well, these tapes have been coming out from Fox News because they're still going through the legal issues here, and a new name has been submitted into what they knew, but what they were also lying about. Here's these behind-the-scenes tapes. That when you heard Rudy Giuliani talking to Maria Bartiromo about those Dominion voting machines, and he pointed out that software is a little bit harder to prove. And there's a Pelosi interest involved. Can't really prove that either. But who cares? Let's just go on here and start lying about it. As we've seen Fox News go through their entire litany of lies about the election in 2020 and how it was stolen. Look at those Dominion voting machines. But Rudy wasn't the only one. There was also a Trump campaign official that was talking and asked to speak off the record as they got into this aspect of what he knew and didn't know.
Are any of the machines, I know it was on War Room the other day with Steve Bannon, have any of the machines been looked at? He had said that one was looked at in Georgia.
I'd have to check on that in terms of Georgia. I know during the audit they did check on those machines. They're really, if we can just go off the record for 1 sec here.
Yeah, of course. I don't want us to say it if it's not. That's why we're checking.
I think they have looked at the machines. When the Secretary of State did its audit, there was a fair bit of looking at the machines. The audit came in pretty darn close to what the machine count was with the receipts. So, I don't know the outcome of those, but our understanding, again, this is from the Secretary of State's office, was that there weren't any physical issues with machines on those inspections.
There weren't any physical issues with those machines upon inspection. Oh, and the numbers that we saw coming in were very close to what it is that it said. All those things are said off the record. Once they're on the record, they can go back to lying. Isn't that weird how that works? I'm sorry, wait, I have to tell you some truths here, Maria. So can we go off the record? Because I know we're talking to liars here, and I'm willing to let you use me to perpetuate those lies, or I guess vice versa as well. They're going through all of this stuff about how none of this stuff really made any sense. And if you look at the date, I love the way MSNBC went through this whole thing. If you look at the date, also on that same day, Donald Trump went to a rally and said the exact opposite. Rudy Giuliani goes on programs saying the exact opposite. So the folks who had these pre-interviews and discussions with them knew they were lying about this stuff. And as they peddled it, they didn't go, well, some might say, maybe that could be the way they cover their own asses and say, there's some falsehoods that you're peddling here. But that wasn't in the memos and in the emails of what they're supposed to be saying as.
Yeah, I actually just finished shooting a video about this for the breakdown, so that should be out soon.
Excellent.
And I go into more detail in that video, but basically this is crucial for Dominion because the case against Fox News isn't hinging on just whether or not Fox News spread misinformation about them. It's whether or not they did so knowingly. These records, these recordings, along with those leaked text messages that we saw earlier and the depositions that have already come out for the case, they really are helping to build and solidify Dominion's case. And it's interesting because this all came about because a former producer, Abby Grossberg, she's also suing Fox News, and she presented these recordings as evidence in discovery. And she says that she had given these recordings to Fox News so that they at least knew about the existence and the content of the recordings. But there is some question now as to whether or not Fox even gave the recordings to their legal team. And that's why these recordings are only coming out now. The trial is supposed to start on Monday, so this is very, very late in the game.
So what you're saying, Yaz, is that they may have known what was going on, and even matter of fact was warned, maybe we should not do this in this direction, but they didn't even want to give it to their legal. Like, so first the cover-up happened there, and then afterwards it continued on. It was never going to end. It's just the way that they go about business. You mentioned Abby Grossberg. Let's see what she had to say about her relationship with Fox News, because she is, of course, turned after they turned on her.
There are producers who would say, I would walk out the door. I wouldn't put something on the air that I couldn't stand up factually.
I wish that I had the power to do that. I wanted to keep my job.
She says Fox's lawyers told her she didn't need her own attorney, but she began to wonder as they prepared her for her Dominion deposition. Did the Fox lawyers attempt to intimidate you, harass you, push you to say things that were not true?
Oh, 100% they did, yeah. They're a big corporate machine that destroys people. I sat in those meetings. I heard them laugh about tearing apart politicians. And now I know that in those meetings, they're talking about me.
Well, this is going to be a little devastating. As you mentioned, yes, this trial is supposed to begin Monday. And if these things start being more part about this, it could delay it even further. So we'll see what the decision is made as far as those next steps. It seems odd to me, though, that you go and directly screw over this person who has all this intimate details about what was happening and just figure she'll just be quiet.
Yeah, I'm not sure when she started recording, and maybe that somebody knows that somewhere. I don't know if that was before or after, or Dominion decided to sue Fox or what, but she did feel like, she was maybe going to be made the fall guy in all of this. So she did feel that somehow this would come back to her. I know that she worked on Tucker Carlson's show, and she also worked with Maria Bartiromo. So she felt vulnerable and she took action. And as I said, she allegedly gave the recordings to Fox News, and then they may or may not have given it to their legal team. The question is there in the first place because it's weird for the legal team to have withheld that information or these recordings up until right now, because there are pretty severe penalties for withholding that type of information. So the Fox News legal team could potentially, if it's found out that they intentionally withheld it, they might lose their law license over something like that.
All those Fox News viewers, once they see these reports come over the airwaves on Fox tonight, they're going to be really surprised.
They're not going to see it.
They're not going to see it.